Well, the U.S. thought it could pressure its neighbors into submission with tariffs. But now Mexico and Canada are fighting back, obviously. Retaliation is on the table. Alternative trade routes are forming, and the idea of a united North American economy, it's breaking apart. Welcome back to America's Geopolitics. If you're done with the globalist bullshit and ready for straight talk, subscribe now. Today, we're unpacking the growing resistance to Trump's new tariff regime and why Mexico and Canada are no longer playing defense. This isn't just about tomatoes or trade. It's about whether North America stays aligned or splinters. Trump's team, led by Commerce Secretary Lutnick, set a hard deadline, August 1st. Any country without a new deal, they get hit with a 30% tariff wall. No exceptions, no more hand-holding. Mexico and the EU were specifically called out. And this came just days after the U.S. ended the 1996 tomato suspension agreement. That triggered a tariff on Mexican tomatoes. That alone is a $2 billion hit for the agricultural sector. Now, the gloves are coming off. Mexican President Sheinbaum didn't flinch. She made it clear. If the U.S. weaponizes trade, Mexico will retaliate. And it won't be symbolic. Officials are already drafting tariffs on corn, soybeans, auto parts headed to American assembly lines, technology and electronics moving south. Why those sectors? Because they hit back at the U.S. swing states and disrupt supply chains that Trump claims to be protecting. This isn't just economic pushback, it's political leverage. While Mexico is going loud, Canada is playing a more surgical game. Ottawa is quietly expanding trade talks with the EU and Indo-Pacific nations, strengthening existing ties with Mexico to form bilateral routes that bypass the U.S., and quietly re-engaging with China on steel, lithium, and technology trade. Canada knows it can't win a trade war head-on, but it can dilute U.S. leverage by building a system where America becomes just one of several partners, not the main one. That'd be a radical shift in Canadian foreign policy, and it signals something deeper. They're preparing for a post-American trade environment. NAFTA, now replaced by the USMCA, was once the bedrock of North American integration. But what good is a deal if one side can blow it up with a stroke of a pen? Trump's 2025 model is simple. America sets the rules, take it or leave it. And while some may agree with that strength-first approach, the consequences are real. Mexico is building trade corridors to South America and Europe. Canada is pivoting towards Indo-Pacific markets, and even U.S. companies are exploring offshoring Mexico just to dodge tariffs. What we're seeing isn't just retaliation. It's the beginning of regional fragmentation. A continent that once moved in sync is now pulling apart. Can North America survive this divide? Shanna, the short answer? Yes. But only if there's a model that recognizes the U.S. is no longer the only economic engine in the region. Mexico's manufacturing sector has become indispensable. Canada controls energy, raw materials, and critical infrastructure. Without real cooperation, we're going to end up with three economies competing with each other instead of winning together. And that has consequences. Longer supply chains, higher consumer prices, less investment stability, and a fractured defense of the Western Hemisphere against growing influence from China, Brazil, and even Russia. So is this the end of the North American alliance? Not necessarily, but if the U.S. keeps swinging the tariff hammer, it might be the end of North American trust. This is bigger than tomatoes. This is about the future of regional power. Right now, we're watching Mexico and Canada say, we have options that didn't exist 20 years ago, and that changes everything. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. The U.S. is still the biggest player on the field, but it might not be able to lead a strategy that just shows strength. If you want more daily breakdowns on how the world is reshaping around American decisions, subscribe to America's Geopolitics. This is Frank. See you tomorrow.